for inviting me here tonight, giving me an opportunity to share some of my experiences with all of you, and also for all the organizers that made this possible. I've been involved in prizes for a long time. As Josh mentioned, I got into it at the early stages of formation of the X Prize Foundation, and that was in very early 2000, around 2000, 2001. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the personal side of why people get involved with prizes, either on the sponsorship and creation of the prize side, or the innovators who actually compete to win the prizes. So for me, it was about the dream I had since I was a very young child of going to space. So to me, dream plays a big role in how these prizes come together and how they're won and the solutions that are put forth in winning all of them. And it makes a big difference in all of our lives. It's what drives us. I was a young girl growing up in Iran, and as a child, I would go outside and I was fascinated with the stars, and I felt that the answers to all the most important questions are up there. And somehow, if I find a way to fly to space and experience it, I will find the answers. And that's what got me interested in space and astronomy. But also, as a child, I think what I learned was that, and something that I've noticed as I grow up, actually, I don't think I grew up after age 20. I just stopped there. But what I saw with a lot of people around me who grew up, that they lost that magic. And I think as human beings, imagination is one of the most important assets we have. And if you can find a way to get our students, our kids, to keep that asset alive as they grow older and make it a regular part of their daily life, it will make a huge difference. But imagination is like a spark of an idea or something that starts up in the brain. But perhaps it started out because we saw something someplace, or like me, I watched something on TV, or we read a really, really good book. I love Joe Burns. And it starts making you think about the situation and putting yourself in a position that, sometimes you just never know, it comes true. And keeping that dream alive was a way for me, whether I'm not a professional astronaut or I wasn't working for NASA, I'm an engineer in the technology field, but my passion was space, and I would look for ways to keep that passion alive, and that's how I got involved with X Prize Foundation. But there are if we look at history, we can see that being a dreamer and being able to imagine things that are not plays a big role in how our lives gets impacted and changed. And we saw that there were people that gave themselves that permission to take chance and to dream big. And despite all the people who call them crazy, they push forward, and those are the people we're looking for. At X Prize, we looked at history, and in aviation, actually, prizes have been playing a big role. And that was the winning of the Ortiz Prize by Charles Lindbergh was an inspiration for Peter Diamandis, who launched the X Prize Foundation. And the picture you see here is Mr. Ortiz actually shaking the hand of the winner. But I relate to this story especially because he was an immigrant from France who came here, became a very successful hotelier, started out from being just a busboy. And he was very successful, but his passion was not in being a businessman. His passion was aviation, and he used his success in driving innovation in aerospace. So he put up a $25,000 prize, Ortiz Prize, for anyone who would fly non-stop from New York to Paris. And of course, after many failed attempts by a lot of people, Charles Lindbergh won that prize with the Spirit of St. Louis. And we basically, Peter was inspired by this story and started the organization with the idea of using competition and prizes to drive change in the space industry. And that was an area that really benefited from this prize. So we got involved with the foundation, my family and I got involved with the foundation right around the beginning of announcements of the prize, and eventually became the title sponsors of the prize. And it was a very rewarding experience for all of us, especially for me, because I actually looked at it as an investment, not as a donation. Because to me, it was specifically addressing an area that I was very, very passionate about. And I knew that I was very fortunate to have been able to build a very successful business and be able to find different ways of fulfilling this dream I had. But there were millions of people out there, young kids who were growing up and who dream of going to space like I did, but will find it very difficult. And being a technologist, being in the field of telecommunication, I saw the changes that had happened in the just a short 10 to 20 years. And when I looked back and looked at the changes that had happened in the way we travel to space, you could not see the same rate of change happening. In my field, which is telecom, I saw how competition had helped reduce the cost, increase innovation, and we wanted to bring the same thing in space. So when I met with Peter, it was like a match made in heaven, and we've been great friends, and he's one of my heroes, actually. And we launched the prize. It was very successful, and it was won by a US team, Scale Composite, which was funded by Paul Allen. And you see the winning, Spaceship One, and it's now hanging next to Spirit of St. Louis in an airspace museum. So every time I go there, it gives me great pride and joy to know that I've been part of this amazing history-making experience. And it has made a huge difference. So when I look at the prizes, and I said I looked at it as an investment, because when you look at it, the return multiplier is great. We had many teams. It was a global event. We had about 26 teams, final teams that competed from 11 countries. Overall, hundreds of millions of dollars were spent to win the $10 million prize. The winning team spent around somewhere between 25 to 30 million to win the prize. So it wasn't just about winning the prize. It wasn't just about the 10 million. It was much more than that. One of the side effects of what we did, which I think was even more powerful than the prize itself and the winning of the prize, was the regulatory change that we drove. A lot of changes have happened since the prize was announced, and a lot of competitions have come up. But one thing that I think we do a really good job at X Prize is we focus first of all on problems that have been stuck, an area that's been stuck and it needs to be pushed. So that's where we spend a lot of our time and energy on. And a lot of these areas sometimes are stuck because it requires a regulatory reform. It requires a mind shift. It requires to educate people about why the problem is not being solved. So that's one thing I feel that we spend a lot of time doing, which is different. The other thing that I believe it's different is the element of the business side of it. A lot of time when we launch a prize, we put in elements into the rules that require someone to actually not only demonstrate that something's possible technically to be done, but that it is something that's practical, that it can be turned into a business, that it can be commercialized, that people can actually buy it or use it. So that element is something that we feel very strongly about, and we try to build into a lot of the competitions that we have. And it has been proven to be very successful, of course, in space and exploration area, which is a major part of the work we do. After the Ansari X Prize was won in 2004, we've done another space. We've worked with NASA, of course, on Centennial Challenges and a lot of the competitions in that area. But also we've launched the Google Lunar X Prize now. That's an ongoing competition. But we expanded and tried to apply that experience to other areas. Energy and environment is a major focus of the organization. We have launched the 100 mile per gallon car competition by Progressive. That was won, I think it was almost maybe 2 years now, a little bit less than 2 years. It was very successful. Not only the prize was won, but a lot of technology was introduced that is now being licensed and used by some of the big car manufacturers. We have a lot of prizes that we have announced in the life science area. The latest was the tricorder prize. We can tell we're all Trekkies at the foundation. And that has received a lot of positive feedback, and already over 200 teams have signed up to compete in that area. And we have the Nokia Sensing Challenge that goes with it. So we have some smaller prizes, but most of the grand challenges or grand prizes are $10 million or more in prize. And then we're working on prizes in the education and global development area that hopefully we'll have some announcements to make soon. I specifically talk about space a lot, and one of my areas of concentration in space, because not only I really wanted to go to space myself, but I believe it's important for the future of humanity. I think that the work we do, all of us here, and the changes that we're driving, is not just for a fun ride to space, but it is because as human beings, if we want to continue to be part of this universe, we need to have means of living off our planet. Not that I don't think our planet will be around, but the way we're consuming our material and our resources, we need to have at least access to material and resources off planet to be able to continue to survive. And I found out through my own experiences going to space, sharing my experiences, and the work that I've done with X Prize, that space is a topic that when I speak to students and young people, it really sparks this, energy inside of them, and it brings hope. Amongst all the bad news that we hear every day, having some hope, I think this is a great area. And it's a great way to get kids interested in science and math, and STEM education, I think, is very important for the future of this country, but humanity as a whole. And this is one way I found that kids get really, really engaged and involved, and they love it. So to me, it's really important to do that. And again, as someone who is very much involved with technology and looking at what's happening, we live in a very, very, very interesting time. I think never before so much power has been given to individuals, and the way we use that power is very important. We can use it for destruction, or we can use it constructively and innovate. And the individuals are very, very powerful today. So if someone tells you you're crazy because you have an idea that you think will change the world, well, guess what? Things that change the world are usually made by just crazy people. So I thank you again for being here, and have a great conference.